So I get the sense sometimes that you probably feel more bitter towards National than you do towards Labour. You seem
No,
more,
I don't. I'm more disappointed because they had far more. They, you know, to whom a lot has been given by public support, a lot's expected. That's my disappointment with National, that they should have taken a name like National, perverted it over time to the extent that they don't know what it means. Now it looks like they're the international party. They're globalists. Whereas all over the world, I see, and I just come back from Singapore as a result of being the guest of Singapore in government last week. Singapore believes in looking after Singapore first. So does Norway, so does Taiwan, so does China. They're all successful. And we're going to the dogs with this globalist policy that no one else actually subscribes to.
Okay, we're talking about alcohol. I think there's some questions at the back here.
It's easy to talk about how we need to look after the needs of ourselves. How does your ideology fit in with a worldview of a global citizen, and what makes you so selfish?
Really? I'm selfish? Excuse me. Look, as the Minister...
Do you mean him particularly selfish, or...?
I mean selfish
as the Minister for Overseas Aid, I organised and used my influence to get the biggest increase in New Zealand aid that there's ever been. That's my record. It's all fallen away since 2008, but that's the truth. And had it focused on our backyard, the Pacific, where I knew I could get greater return for our investment. That's not a case of being selfish. I targeted to go from 0.27 to 0.35, in line with it going towards the UN target, which you know is 0.7. But at least we headed on the right track when I was the Minister of New Zealand NZ Aid. It's all changed now. The second thing is, if you think you can help the world by sacrificing the wealth creation of your own economy, then I think you're misguided. The best way we can help the world is to run a brilliant economy and do what countries like Scandinavian countries are doing, where some are paying up to 2% of their GNI, gross national income, in foreign aid. We are underperforming in two respects: as a good world citizen and as a sound economy. That's my response.
Well, let's talk about the economy then, and a few issues. GST, what should it be?
Well, I'm about to announce in this campaign what our policy will be on GST, but I do not think, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, because in the middle of the Rugby World Cup, it's hard enough to get coverage now, let alone let these gems go.
Just give us a hint.
Let me ask this question. Why is water, energy and food the most critical thing that mankind, humankind and all people need, women, children, everybody needs? Why is it the subject of some purloining tax?
Okay, so take it off water. Okay.
No, well, hang on. I mean, here we live in this God-given country with water coming down in the mountains, and somebody says, I think I'll make a little profit on this. I'll privatise it and I'll make a packet for some guy in the UK or Sweden or Switzerland or New York. This is just absurd. Yes?
What did you think of the Greens economic plan that came out this week in terms of turning New Zealand, because their plan is quite in line with the things you're saying about New Zealand focusing on ourselves and having an economy that works for New Zealand and then making that our contribution. Did you see it, and what do you think of it?
If you're saying that sound environmentalism is good economics, then I have always agreed with that. That's one of our founding principles of New Zealand First. But you're not going to make this country take off if you're going to spend half your time trying to stop everything without saying that your greatest objective should be to see how you can use your resources in an environmentally sustainable way. Our focus is different to the Greens. I believe that they've been far too obstructive of the wealth creation that this economy demands, the mass majority of New Zealanders demand, and they ignore the fact that if they look around the room, their home, their car, extraction is what is the base of our lifestyle. They're happy to take all those things and yet spend their time stopping everything. I want to see a progressive country that is an environmental worldwide leader, and our greatest concern in New Zealand First is the pollution and the lack of our deserving a clean, green reputation. It's an accident, we don't deserve it, and we can do far better in our economic interests. So I don't want you to sit here and agree that the Greens and New Zealand First are on the same page. I believe, and we believe in sound environmentalism, but we want to take our country to the top of the per capita earnings where we once were when we led the world for decades.
But nonetheless, I think that's a good question, actually, because aside from the environmental differences you might have with the Green Party, it strikes me that economically you're probably quite similar to the Green Party, and I wonder why that, or I wonder if that's one of the barriers that New Zealand First is going to face, that a lot of your previous support has gone to the Greens because they're sort of they're quite nationalistic, quite focused on returning New Zealand to, the past, in a sense.
Look, reading my speeches and trying to pinch them as Don Brash and the Greens have done is not going to be successful. I often say, and I'll tell you why. No, don't laugh. Go back, since the Greens were founded, New Zealand First was founded, and average out the polls. We've outdone them in nearly every election campaign, have had the balance of power twice, and have been in every election, including the last election, only one seat in every election since 1993 from holding the balance of power. So I am not worried about where the Greens might be come election day. I'm concerned about New Zealand First Party. I just wish some political scientists would understand that and analyse the truth of what I've just said.
But nonetheless, there's still a lot of people that think that your days are over. New Zealand First, not in your particular days, but New Zealand
Mr. Edwards,
First.
do you think my days are over? I don't hear you hide behind the skirts of other people. What do you think?
I don't think you're going to be back in Parliament.
All right, good.
And
I'll take a bet with you.
Yep, I'm open to this.
How much you want to put on?
I'll do it in your currency. Whiskey.
No. How much you want to put on it?
Well, anything you name, I think I could.
No, you can volunteer. Come on, look, we've got only limited time here, but you put your money where your mouth is.
Okay.
Not enough. Keep going.
Joe, get me out of this. Go home.
Can I suggest that the bet be that if New Zealand First makes it in, Bryce will support you wholeheartedly in the next election with a public campaign?
Well, what is he?
You're on. We win. You're going to come out with a white flag and give 3 years. How's that? You're on. I'll take that bet, and I've got all these witnesses.
And you'll come and be my research assistant for 3 years.
No, I'll come down and give lectures about how polls should be read properly.
Very good. Moving right along very fast. Well, tell us about some of these other parties, how they're going to do. I mean, you're confident about New Zealand First. What's going to happen with, say, the Mana Party? Are they just a flash in the pan, or...?
The Mana Party is located in Ngāpuhi, the far north.
Yeah, because you've got a lot of experience there.
He'll win that. Well, only one political party has ever taken all the Maori seats off the Labour Party, and it's New Zealand First.
Of course.
We don't stand on the Maori seats these days because we believe in a single franchise as a consequence of our experience 95 to 90, so 96 to 99. But let me say this here, that Honehara will win Northern Maori, or Te Tai Tokerau, but I think they're in trouble, and the Maori Party is in trouble or elsewhere, that Labour is the beneficiary because of the death fight that these former Maori Party MPs are currently engaged in.
Okay, so you're predicting that they're both going to lose out through this?
Well, I think that there's not enough votes, of course, to have that little area of the market crowded so high, given that whilst you might have 13% of, say, the Maori in this country, on the roll, it's dramatically only less than half of that.
Actually, the split between those two parties is quite interesting. One is essentially sort of the left version of Maoridom, the other maybe the more conservative or right of Maoridom. Which party would you be more comfortable being in a coalition with?
Neither. And the reason is that, with the greatest respect to Mr. Harawira, what he's saying is and what the Maori Party is saying as well, is a disastrous path for the Maori to contemplate. If we are going to make it in our society and uplift this country, then it relies upon our resources, our resolution, and our hard work to do it. No one else can fix the problems of Maoridom up but ourselves. I mean, surely it's incongruous to say this. The European is the cause of my problem, but I want him to fix it up. Now, how does that work? The architect of my demise, I trust to fix it up. That just does not work. So the problem with the Maori Party and the Hone Harawira is that they think that, and they articulate the blame game when we have the capacity as Maori, if we understood the integrity of our past, to do it all by ourselves.
Okay, well, I'm interested in discussing more about your views on ethnicity and race issues, but Joe's got another question, or...
This is half myself, half off the Twitter feed. We're just wondering, because you are, of course, half Scots, whether you were supporting the Scots in the Rugby World Cup and what you thought of the tournament so far.
Well, I think that, well, first of all, I'm in Dunedin. I'm not saying it now. I've said it the moment I saw it. But your stadium might be an issue of great political, local government dispute. But it's going to save Dunedin rugby, South Island rugby, this part of the world, into the future. It's a marvellous asset, and you're going to come to appreciate it. When you see all that rain teeming down in Hawke's Bay and Waikato and elsewhere, you realise that you've ensured to have a test into the future. It's been a marvellous thing for this part of the country. As for the Rugby World Cup, well, I think it's been great, but I'm getting utterly sick of the pages and pages of drivel that have got nothing to do with the rugby or anything else, such as somebody was, the dwarf throwing story. Excepting the dwarf down in Queenstown never heard about it, right? And the Zara Phillips story. I mean, this is actually tawdry, beneath us, and I wish we'd demonstrate a bit of class and a bit of style for a change.
But are you dodging the Scotland question? Yeah.
Well, the last time Scotland had a great World Cup was in '87, and they came very close to being the All Blacks in the South Island here. I think the Scotland, on a great day, could upset someone, but they don't look to have the team to do it.
Okay.
I think Ireland does have the shock factor, and so does Wales.
I assume you're going to the game tomorrow? Here?
No, I can't. I've got to be on the plane at 4:15 back to Auckland.
Okay.
So I'm working on Sunday, so that's
fair enough. Okay, so...
Besides which, I don't think Romania is going to be a big challenge down here.
Okay. Now, possibly not, but I'm sure it will be a great game.
Exactly. Do you realise why Romania played rugby? Well, their dictator said so. In the same way that France plays rugby. De Gaulle said so. Said it will be enforced in their schools. So, political decisions can be pretty dramatic.